Hello everyone, today we will continue to explain the CKAD question bank content. So today is the third question. The third question is about updating our deployment labels and exposing our service. So what is this question mainly about? The task is, what are we updating? Updating a deployment in our namespace. The main requirement is, first of all, to have it run 3 replicas. Yes, have it run 3 replicas. The second requirement is to add labels to our pods, specifically the label provided in the question. And then, what else is needed? Everyone needs to pay attention here. A service is also required. We need to create a new service in the current namespace, and then expose our deployment on TCP port 81. Everyone, please note here that the port is 81, not the standard 80. Okay, you must pay attention to this. So what is the main solution to this problem? First, what is the first step we need to modify? Modify our replica count. The first step is essentially that we need to, we can directly use the edit command to edit a setting in our deployment, directly change our replicas from the default to 3, and then in our template, find the labels and fill them in. Fill in the labels. This is our first step. After the edit is successful, this step is actually done. After you run it, wait about a minute or so. Check if the labels are correct and if the quantity is correct. Hey, that's the first step. The second step is the issue with our service. And the most critical point here is actually the port. It's the port. First, we need to confirm the current port of our pod container. We can check it directly using the get command. After checking, we can go ahead and create the service. Note that when creating the service here, we need to use the port we just checked and then connect it to our port 81. Connect it to our port 81. Actually, creating it is relatively straightforward, but you must be flexible because the port you find might not always be the same. Some are 80, some are 81. I'm referring to the container port here. The final port, the exposed port, we will confirm as 81 as required by the problem. However, for the container port, since we need to connect to it, the container port side isn't necessarily fixed. Sometimes it's 81, sometimes it's 80. This is a parameter that might change, so everyone needs to pay attention to that. Just write down whatever it is. Alright, after you've made the changes here, based on what you actually see, you can modify it to 80 or 81. In either case, exposing it as 81 is actually fine. This is the main content of our third question. The main content. Now, next, let's take a specific look at how to solve it. First, let's connect to our remote host. Alright, we are now remotely connected to the corresponding host, and next, I can begin the specific operations. So the first step is that we need to edit our quantity and labels. This is our first step. This problem is mainly divided into 2 parts. The first part is that we can directly edit it using our kubectl command. Yes, just edit it directly. We can see that our current namespace is 17, and the content we are editing is our deployment information. The deployment name here is also given in the problem, so you can just look at the problem, and then we edit it in here. After getting in, what are we mainly looking for? We are looking for the quantity, which is our replicas. Yes, replicas. And what else? And the labels in the template section. We scroll down and find it here. The default replicas here is 1, right? We change it to 3. Then we move down, we look for the template section and look for the labels. Where are the labels? The labels are below, right? We have a template here, and below the metadata are our labels. Yes, the labels. Once you find this location, just change the labels. Yes, just change the labels and that's it. Here, currently, our labels are actually, you could say, non-existent, right? Right now, there are actually no labels, so let's add some here. We'll add our new label at this position and just align it with the existing app one here. Then add our new label content after that, and then we save it here. There is automatic syntax checking here, so you don't need to check it yourself. Since our editor has automatic syntax checking, it's relatively convenient. This is a bit different from editing a file and then running it, because when you edit a file, you only know if it's correct when you run it. Here, as long as you can exit successfully, it means your syntax is fine. Simply put, this checks your syntax. And here, let's take a look at the quantity and labels after our update. For the view command, normally we just check a pod and that's it, right? But here, since we also need to query labels, what should we add at the end? We add an option to display our label content. Let's take a look at the result. The quantity is 3, right? They were all just started, no problem. Take a look at the end, right? Hey, there's a new label, which is the one we just added. No problem, that's our first step. All right, for the second task, or rather the second part, it's about our service content. First of all, as we just mentioned, since you need to expose ports, you have to know what your current container port is because you can't just guess, right? Because it's not necessarily 100% port 80. Everyone needs to pay attention to this, right? Nobody told us that this container must be on port 80, right? It could be 81, 82 or something like that. So first of all, what exactly are we asked to expose in the problem? The port to be exposed is 81, but no other information is provided to us, so we need to check it ourselves. Over here, let's check the port information in our deployment. Let's take a look first. And how do we check it here? Actually, you can view it directly in our YAML format using OYML, and then we filter it, right? We filter it. To filter it, we filter for the content, our container port, the container port. Let's take a look at the result. All right, so after filtering, what is the container port? 81, right? Here is one that is 81. After filtering out 81 here, what can we do? We can go ahead and create it below, by using our expose command. Because here, actually, there are really only two ways to create a service. One is through our file, and the other is by directly exposing the port using our expose command. But here, we need to add a few more options. So first, we provide the deployment information, this K8's content, and then next, the name. The next step is our protocol. The protocol is fixed, of course. This is fixed, the TCP protocol. As for the port number, it's our 80. No, not 80, 81. Port 81. Usually it's 80, but here it really is port 81. And then moving on to the next configuration step, we have the specific target port setting, which is set to port 81. Everyone, please note that for the first port here, the first port 81, what does it refer to? It refers to the service port we are exposing. The target port at the back is the port used in the container we just had. If you found during the check just now that the container port is 80, then you should change it to port 80 here, change it to port 80. And then moving over to this section, we finally need to specify our configuration by adding a type flag. In this specific instance, we are setting our type to node port, which is essential for our setup. With that configuration fully defined, we are now ready to go ahead and create it. After it's created, if we want to check it, we can just use get service, just use get service to check. When we execute the get service command right here in our terminal, we are able to take a closer look at all the specific results that are returned to us. We can clearly see the node port information, the specific name of our service, the assigned IP address, and finally the port number 81, which is exactly what we were looking for, right? So how do we verify this? Ultimately, you can actually use curl followed by the IP we just saw. 209.146 and then add port 81, access it, no problem, right? This is the solution to this problem. Note that you must add port 81 to access it. Actually, changing the label and the quantity in the first part of this problem is quite simple. The main thing is that for the latter part, everyone must be careful to check whether it's 81 or 80, right? The port specified in the problem usually asks you to expose port 81, but the container port you query might sometimes be 80 and sometimes 81. In this case, you need to use your own judgment flexibly, right? Whatever the number is, just write that down. As long as you can eventually access your port 81, there's no problem. Alright, that covers the content of our third problem. We will continue to bring you explanations for the subsequent problems. If you are interested, feel free to discuss in the comments section below. If you need the question bank, you can send me a direct message. Alright, that's all for today. Bye everyone.